repairing that needs to be done?
Well, you know, I mean, Jim has said some stuff publicly that got, you know, blown out of proportion, I think, that I wouldn't have said. You know, that's, you know, some things you say, some things you don't say, but I think overall, you know, the city is a great city, and you know, we got the beach, we got the weather, we got all these ingredients with the marine industry and the tourism, and we're going to make it no matter what. So, you know, we've come a long way from the spring break capital of the world to, you know, really a megalopolis. And, you know, some of that's good, some of that I worry about too. You know, we overcook it too. I want to be sure that we take what we've done in the past that's been good and enhance it, and, you know, then cure the things that need work. But overall, I just think we're going to make it no matter what. The economy ain't going to get us down. You know, any tourist issues aren't going to get us down. We're going to make it.
Do you consider the job a full-time job?
Well, in theory, it's not supposed to be, but I'm ready for that. You know, I mean, I'm a lawyer, and I return phone calls. That's, if I don't get business. I don't keep business. So that's the type of a commissioner I'd be. I'm very accessible. You ask anybody in my firm, I got an open door policy. You need to see me, you come see me, and that's the way I would act as a commissioner.
But what would you do with your law practice? Would you?
Well, my practice is such that I have help. I have good people around me, and I've already calculated that I'm not going to be there. I can't. You know, at least half my time I'm going to be down at City Hall doing things, and it could be more than that. So, you know, that's why I've never done it before.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because anybody goes into here thinking that, oh yeah, they just have to show up at a couple of meetings a week is seriously mistaken. And I have concerns about candidates who have that view.
Right.
When you talk to voters, how do you set yourself apart from the other candidates for this position?
Well, I have the benefit of having grown up here. You know, my family's been here for 83 years, and we've got a lot invested in this community. And I've been involved in lots of things. I mean, a dozen different boards for the last 30 years since I came back and started working as a lawyer. So I know there's nobody that's got the vast experience that I do. And I have experience in varied areas. I mean, I'm chairman of the chamber, so I know the business community. I sit on a bank board. I understand finance. I've been involved deeply in historic preservation. I understand that. I helped found this Broward Housing Partnership, which is affordable housing, non-for-profit. And I've been involved in the faith-based community. You know, I'm a member of my church. I've been on the board and trustee. And
What is your church?
First Baptist, the pageant.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's a big part of my life, and so I feel like I can bring people together from all sectors of our community, and we can mutually work on things together.
Any thoughts on the RMC show coming back?
We now need to call it the Sky and Ocean Show.
Oh, yes.
Gary,
I have been slapped
told
out
you it's
three
the
times for calling it.
Sea and Air Show.
The event?
Yeah, you know, we definitely need an event to stimulate the economy, and that time of year is a good time to do it. And I do think it was immensely successful in terms of the public support, and certainly it was a great recruiting tool for the armed services, which is great. And if we can participate in that, you know, I think we gotta make it revenue neutral. You know, we can't be paying for it like we did in the past, because especially in these times. And I think we have to be sensitive to those residents who are impacted, and we'll need to make the promoter to make sure that happens.
Well, yeah, we've heard that a couple of times, but let me, at least let's come back for the year 2010 would be assuming I swear it's 2010.
I think you're right.
You know, and the city has about $70 million in reserve.
Right.
And I mean, I can't remember what the figure was it would cost the city, but given the economic situations it is, It seems to me it might be worth spending on the city side, even if it's not revenue neutral, spending a few $100,000 to bring a big event to give merchants and businesses on the beach a bit of a boost. And really what is kind of a downtime here, because it's between the seasons, before the summer season. And
Yeah,
between,
well,
you know,
and I
maybe-
think it depends on how we spend that money. 'Cause
Right.
I'm in favor of promotion. You have to promote, you have to
Right.
market. And when I say revenue neutral, maybe that was a wrong statement, because my concern was, I think everybody's concern, is that I don't think they really knew what it was costing the
Right.
city. And it all came out in personnel and, overtime and that kind of thing, which, I think wasn't well managed, at least from my perspective. So, but I agree with you, we do have to, if we're gonna have a big event, we gotta promote it.
Right.
And,
You want to spend some money on it, even if it costs
Yeah,
a little bit of red. At least
within
you're
reason.
bringing a big
Within
event here.
reason, sure. And because it does, it fills up hotels and restaurants
Right.
and brings people here.
On the issue of code enforcement, the city's been pretty aggressive with code enforcement on businesses and private homeowners. Is now a time to back off because people can't, because businesses are struggling as it is, or is now a time to, crack down even more?
Well, I would answer that this way. I think code enforcement is really important. It really sort of does two things. One, keeps things safe and secure, which is important. But second of all, it makes a neighborhood in particular, gives it some pride when, everybody's trying to pay attention and take care of things that they have. Now, there's always going to be those circumstances where I'm out of work, I don't have a way to pay for it. Well, those things go in front of the code board, and they give them grace. There's nothing wrong with a little grace. But I don't know at the level of the code enforcement officer, do we necessarily give direction. I think that needs to come more from the board, the code boards, administration.
Well, because lately they've had, they call them performance standards, quotas,
Yeah.
to give a certain number, and they also recently streamlined the process so they can actually give something similar to a citation. It's a code ticket. And they've gone after businesses for issues like signs and that sort of thing. So
Right.
I'm just wondering philosophically.
Well, I haven't heard that. You might be right. And, I think you're kind of towing the line there when, you say back off or don't back off. I don't know that I think the code guy's supposed to do his job. And, as I said, I think at the second level, that's where there's a special circumstance sometimes that people come and they explain themselves, and the code board gets the rule on that issue.
On the issue of police salaries.
Well, can I go back for a second? Because
Yeah.
you raised a good question. I just thought of what somebody told me, and
Okay.
I haven't got an answer to it, but it might be right along the lines of what you said. Right over on 17th Street, I've been told that there's a restaurant back there, and because they're sort of buried and hidden from the causeway there, business is not very good. So the woman who owned it, she got somebody to do one of these sandwich boards, walk
Yeah.
up and down the street, and business started flying in the door. You got people from the port, you got the regular
Right.
tourists, and apparently the code guy came out and said, can't do it.
Right.
All right? Now, but that wasn't his problem. If that's what the code says, but that should be handled in an administrative, and if that's the case, then there either ought to be a new law written, or there ought to be some exceptions made based on the fact that, business is terrible and we don't have any other way to advertise, so. But,
Right.
that's probably one of those right down
That's
your
exactly
question.
what I was talking about.
Yeah.